after 65. The world doesn't slow down, but we do. And that's why mental peace and emotional strength become more than just goals. They become lifelines. In today's episode of Elderly Reflections, we're diving into 5 daily habits that have helped countless seniors in Europe, in North America, rediscover joy, calm, and purpose in their later years. These habits aren't found in expensive programs or complicated routines. They come from something deeper: lived experience, elderly wisdom, and a quiet understanding of what truly matters. You'll hear real stories from real people. A 72-year-old widow in Oregon who found healing in the simplest routine. A retired teacher in Scotland who wakes up every morning with a ritual that brings him peace. These are not celebrities. They're not influencers. They are your neighbors, your parents, your future self. And through their voices, we explore how small daily choices, a walk, a journal, a moment of silence, can shape the emotional landscape of aging. If you're someone who values senior health, life lessons from the elderly, and grounded daily inspiration, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell. There's more wisdom coming, straight from those who've walked the longest roads. As we grow older, the way we start our mornings can shape not only the hours that follow, but the emotional tone of our entire lives. For seniors, especially those levitating retirement, physical limitations, or the quiet of an empty home, the morning can either be a lonely struggle or a sanctuary of reflection. Gratitude is one of the simplest yet most powerful tools to help seniors cultivate a positive mental and emotional landscape. And unlike medicine or therapy, gratitude is free, immediately accessible, and rooted in personal experience. Numerous studies confirm that older adults who actively practice gratitude enjoy better overall health, lower levels of stress, and a stronger sense of connection to life. According to a 2019 report published in the Journal of Aging and Mental Health, seniors who engaged in daily gratitude exercises reported 17% fewer symptoms of depression and 22% higher scores in emotional satisfaction compared to those who didn't. Gratitude redirects focus from what is lost to what is still present. At a time when friends pass, children move away, and physical capabilities shift, gratitude becomes a compass pointing toward emotional steadiness and resilience. It's not denial, it's reframing. Instead of mourning every wrinkle or forgotten name, the grateful senior might say, "I woke up today. I have breath in my lungs. I remember the laughter of yesterday." Gratitude activates the brain's reward system. When you reflect on things you are thankful for, the brain releases dopamine and serotonin, 2 crucial neurotransmitters that contribute to feelings of well-being. For seniors whose neurological function may naturally slow down with age, activating these pathways becomes especially important. It's not just about feeling better, it's about keeping the emotional brain agile and balanced. Practicing gratitude also improves heart health, lowers blood pressure, and even supports better sleep patterns, according to the Mayo Clinic. In a time of life when medications are often the norm, it's remarkable to find a prescription that requires no pharmacy. So how does one begin to bring gratitude into a daily routine? One simple method is the morning journal. Keep a notebook next to your bed. Upon waking, write down 3 things you're grateful for. They can be as simple as a warm cup of tea or a phone call from a grandchild. Others may find meaning in a gratitude jar. Seniors in assisted living homes often enjoy adding daily notes to a great jar. Once a week, they read them aloud together. This simple habit builds a sense of community. For those who prefer not to write, even 2 minutes of quiet reflection on 3 blessings can shift mood and lower morning anxiety. Another creative approach is the phone buddy system. In parts of Ireland, senior centers pair up older adults to share a morning gratitude text or voicemail. This not only encourages gratitude, but reduces isolation. Even prayer, for those who are spiritual, can become a deep vessel of gratitude when practiced with intention. Margaret Jensen, a 74-year-old widow living in a small town in Minnesota, spent months battling quiet depression after her husband passed away. The mornings were the hardest, she recalls. You open your eyes and the silence is so loud. One day, her daughter mailed her a gratitude journal. It came with a sticky note. "Just try 3 things each day, Mom." Margaret resisted at first, but she began. Day 1, I wrote, "I'm grateful for hot coffee. I'm grateful my hands don't hurt today. I'm grateful for birdsong." Within weeks, her emotional state improved. I realized I was looking for things to be thankful for during the day, just so I'd have something to write in the morning. It changed my lens, she says. She's now part of a local group called Morning Light, a small gathering of seniors who share their daily reflections over tea every Wednesday, which become a lifeline, she says. We remind each other of the good. Her experience is echoed by many others in our elderly reflections community. From quiet towns in Canada to bustling neighborhoods in Birmingham, the simple act of pausing and acknowledging something good can ripple out and influence the entire day. Dr. Emil Carter, a gerontologist in New York, once noted gratitude is the anchor emotion for the elderly. It keeps them tethered to the best parts of memory and hope. This habit is a subtle form of resistance against apathy, bitterness, and emotional withdrawal. It is elderly wisdom at its purest, choosing to appreciate what remains instead of longing endlessly for what's gone. Another powerful story comes from Bernard Roth, 78, a retired mechanic from Liverpool. Bernard had lost mobility in one leg due to an injury, and soon after, found himself spiraling into resentment. I used to wake up angry, he said, because I could no longer do the things I loved. One day, a fellow vet told me, try waking up and saying thank you instead of why me. I laughed, but I tried it. That habit led him to eventually keeping a gratitude list. Now each morning he writes 3 names, people he's grateful for, living or gone. I may not walk like I used to, but I carry my people with me, he says. His story reminds us that gratitude doesn't demand a perfect life. It flourishes in an honest one. Whether written, spoken, or silently acknowledged, gratitude reclaims agency. It reminds seniors that despite physical limitations or emotional losses, they still possess the power to influence their internal world. It's an emotional muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. And in times of illness or grief, it becomes the gentle balm that soothes without judgment. In conclusion, beginning each day with gratitude is more than just a mental exercise. It's an act of emotional self-preservation and empowerment. For seniors navigating a world that often overlooks them, gratitude becomes a quiet rebellion. A daily declaration, I still see beauty, I still feel joy, I am still here. As one of our viewers, Walter from Devon, England, wrote, gratitude doesn't take away the pain, but it gives it a place to rest. That, in essence, is the magic of this habit. In the next session, we'll explore this second daily habit, physical movement, and how it reshapes the emotional and cognitive health of seniors, even those with limited mobility. Aging doesn't mean slowing down to stillness. It means learning to move in ways that nurture rather than deplete. Among the elderly reflections we gather every week, one truth remains constant. Motion is life, and not just physical motion, but the mental and emotional kind too. In this part, we'll explore 2 vital habits for senior well-being: gentle physical movement and lifelong learning. These are not just practices. They are lifelines to energy, clarity, purpose, and emotional resilience. Let's begin with a habit that may seem deceptively simple, yet profoundly life-giving: moving your body in gentle, consistent ways. While many seniors believe that exercise means going to the gym or lifting weights, the reality is that the most healing movements are often the simplest. Tai Chi in the backyard, a 20-minute walk to the mailbox, stretching your arms with deep breaths beside the kitchen sink. According to a 2021 study in the Journal of Geriatric Physical Therapy, just 150 minutes of low-intensity movement per week can reduce anxiety and depression symptoms by up to 35% in seniors. The benefit isn't in the sweat. It's in the rhythm and repetition that reconnects the body with its own sense of being. Take Edith Carmichael, 82, from Edinburgh, Scotland. After a minor stroke, her doctor recommended slow walking every morning. I couldn't go fast, but I could go often, she said. She began circling the small community garden near her flat, just 5 minutes each day. Within a month, she added music, Mozart, sometimes folk tunes from her youth. It felt like my body remembered being alive. Edith now leads a group of senior women who do memory walks, short strolls, while sharing stories from the past. Movement, she says, is how I find my place in the day. Her body may have limitations, but her rhythm became ritual. Beyond walking, other options like chair yoga, light dancing, or simple balance exercises are proven to reduce fall risk and boost mood. Physical therapist Janine Lawson notes, the goal isn't intensity, it's consistency. The body of a 70-year-old doesn't want to be pushed, it wants to be respected. One of our elderly reflection subscribers, Marvin from Wisconsin, shared this insight. When I stretch in the morning, I think of it like tuning a guitar. I might never play a song, but I want to stay in tune. That's a beautiful metaphor, isn't it? To move, not to perform, but to remain in tune with oneself. These small movements matter. They signal to the brain we're still participating in life. For many seniors, this sense of agency makes the difference between feeling invisible and feeling vital. Let's now look at the practical ways seniors can bring more movement into their day. Simple routines like morning arm circles and ankle rolls in bed, a gentle 10-minute walk after breakfast, chair-based dance sessions on YouTube, or even gardening, even if it's just watering potted herbs, can offer deep emotional rewards. The movement becomes symbolic. It's not about miles or minutes, but meaning. It tells your body and brain, I'm here, I still matter. When you move, you remind yourself that life isn't over. It's just flowing differently. And just as the body finds strength and rhythm, the mind finds resilience and curiosity. This brings us to our third habit, keep learning. Every single day, just as the body needs gentle movement, the brain craves stimulation. When seniors stop learning, their emotional world often narrows. Days blur, curiosity fades, and emotional resilience weakens. But when learning is present, life expands. A 2022 study from Stanford's Center on Longevity found that seniors who engaged in new learning activities, be it languages, arts, or technology, experienced 28% lower rates of cognitive decline and reported feeling more excited to wake up. One example comes from Mary Ellen Jacobs, 76, from Ontario, Canada. After retiring from a career in finance, she enrolled in a local online art history course. I was terrified to log in the first time, she laughs. I thought I'd be the oldest person. I was. But that became my strength. Now she participates in forums, joins Zoom classes, and even mentors other seniors on how to use tablets. I feel like I'm in my 20s again. Only wiser. Her story reflects what many of us feel too late in life. Learning doesn't just keep the mind active. It makes the spirit feel alive. Learning doesn't need to be formal. Watching a documentary, listening to podcasts, trying a new recipe, or even exploring a new walking trail all count. The elderly wisdom of continuous curiosity is one of the most underrated paths to emotional strength. According to psychologist Dr. Ray Morrison, aging brains are not less capable. They are more selective. They need purpose behind the learning. That's why seniors thrive most when the topic connects to their values, memories, or goals. A man passionate about trains may light up during a transportation history class. A grandmother who cooked all her life may feel alive discovering Mediterranean herbs. Ralph, 81 from Boston, put it best in a recent Elderly Reflections letter. I'm not trying to impress anyone. I learned so I don't forget how to be amazed. That quote alone reminds us, motivation and inspiration in old age often come not from achievement, but from the sheer joy of discovering something new. And this joy is not a luxury. It's a form of nourishment. So how can seniors turn learning into a habit? They might enroll in free online classes from platforms like Coursera or FutureLearn. They can join library-hosted events or elder storytelling circles, explore new genres of books or films, or volunteer to teach others. Because teaching is learning twice. Ultimately, a curious mind doesn't just absorb new information, it radiates life. It pushes back against the slow fate of time. It says to the world, I'm still growing, I still dream, and in that spirit, learning becomes not just a habit, but a declaration of identity. A life that continues to learn is a life that refuses to dim. In the final part of this video, we'll explore two final habits that weave together emotional strength with connection and meaning. Because happiness in later life is never an accident. It's often built, habit by habit, like a house of merry and hope. If there's one truth that echoes across all elderly reflections we receive, from nursing homes in New Jersey to sun-drenched villages in Spain, it's this: the soul shrinks in isolation. While solitude has its place, extended social disconnection in older age can corrode emotional strength faster than illness. In this final part, we explore two powerful habits that act as anchors, maintaining meaningful relationships and living each day with a purpose beyond oneself. We begin with the fourth habit, one that psychologists and geriatricians alike have called essential to emotional longevity: nurturing social bonds. According to a landmark study by the National Institute on Aging, seniors who maintain strong social ties have a 50% greater chance of outliving those who are isolated. But here's the deeper truth. It's not about how many people are around you. It's about how seen, heard, and valued you feel in their presence. Consider the story of Harold and Linda Owens, both in their late 70s, living in Boise, Idaho. After Harold's mild stroke, Linda noticed his spirit sinking. His world shrank to television and the occasional walk to the mailbox. She encouraged him to join a community woodworking group. Reluctantly, he went. Weeks later, he began bringing home small hand-carved animals and picture frames. "It's not the wood," Harold said. "It's the laughter. The way we joke around, I feel useful again." For Harold, connection wasn't about sentiment. It was structure, rhythm, belonging. And this feeling isn't rare. In fact, studies show that group-based hobbies, whether it's gardening clubs, choir practice, or volunteering, lead to a 26% increase in self-reported happiness among seniors. When we connect, we reflect. And reflection fuels dignity. But what if mobility is limited, or transportation is a challenge? Many seniors today are embracing virtual spaces, not as replacements for real-life connection, but as bridges. There are now senior-led book clubs on Zoom, international pen pal exchanges for retirees, and even virtual walking clubs where participants simply check in daily with their steps. The point isn't perfection, it's when a senior sends a voice message to a friend or joins a weekly virtual Bible study, what they are truly doing is affirming their own visibility. A sense of being recognized by others affirms our place in the world. And when that recognition is mutual, it becomes the soil where trust, laughter, and empathy bloom. Loneliness, on the other hand, doesn't just hurt emotionally, it can be lethal. The CDC has stated that loneliness in seniors is as damaging to health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. That statistic shocks many, but to those who've lived it, it's no surprise. Helen Kim, 81, from San Diego, lost her husband during the pandemic. For a while, she refused to answer calls, avoided neighbors, and gave up her morning walks. "Oh, I felt like the walls were swallowing me," she confessed in an elderly reflections letter. Everything shifted when her grandson taught her how to use video chat. She began joining a weekly Tea and Talk, Zoom, for seniors in her church. "Seeing faces, hearing voices, laughing again. It brought me back," she wrote. Helen now hosts that group, from silence to service, all through a simple habit of saying yes to connection. Emotional strength doesn't require being surrounded by dozens of people. It requires at least one place where your voice matters. We've even seen how pets or gardening plots create channels of connection. For some, a daily conversation with the barista at the local cafe or exchanging recipes with a neighbor becomes a thread of connection woven into the fabric of their day. Dr. Susan Leary, a social gerontologist at King's College London, puts it this way: "Connection is not measured by quantity, but quality. A 5-minute genuine exchange can nourish the soul more than an hour of distracted company." One of the most moving elderly reflections came from a Vietnam veteran named Carl, age 79, who wrote simply, "Every Wednesday I call my friend in Michigan. We don't say much, but we're still here. That's enough." And now let us turn to the fifth and final habit, perhaps the most invisible yet impactful one: living with purpose. Purpose doesn't always mean grand missions. For seniors, it can mean feeding birds every morning, checking in on a neighbor, writing down family recipes, or calling a distant cousin just to say, "You're not forgotten." Purpose breathes structure into time and gives emotional resilience its deepest roots. According to the Rush Memory and Aging Project, seniors who scored high on a purpose in life scale were 44% less likely to develop Alzheimer's over a 7-year period. More than that, they reported higher satisfaction with life, even when dealing with physical limitation. David Monroe, 88, from Vermont, embodies this beautifully. A retired school principal, he lost his wife of 52 years and went into a deep depression. "There were mornings I didn't want to move," he admitted. But everything changed when he found a letter she had written before her passing. It simply said, "Keep teaching." That fall, David began tutoring refugee children online. "They brought my eyes back to life," he told us. I don't know what I give them, but I know what they give me." Meaning David's routine now includes 2 sessions a week, lesson planning and writing reflections about what he learns from them. His emotional resilience didn't come from ignoring grief, but from transforming it into something that helped others. There's also the story of Marta Rivera, 73, who started translating historical documents at her local museum after retiring from public service. "I may not walk as fast, but my mind travels centuries a day," she jokes. Her translations are now used in educational materials for schools across her city. That sense of legacy, not ego but contribution, has revitalized her. She told us, "At this age, I don't need to be seen, but I need to know that I still add something good to the world." Purpose comes in many forms: building, preserving, mentoring, protecting, comforting. It may not be loud, but it's never quiet, inside the heart that holds it. Whether it's painting, praying, mentoring, or storytelling, purpose acts as a compass that orients seniors toward hope. And it doesn't need to be public. Private rituals like tending a rose bush planted in honor of a loved one can be just as powerful. Emotional strength flourishes when we feel we're part of something greater than ourselves, even if that something is one act of kindness repeated daily. A study published in Psychological Science found that adults who engaged in small, purposeful actions, even as simple as helping someone across the street or keeping a gratitude journal, showed elevated serotonin levels and reported deeper sleep and fewer depressive symptoms over a 90-day period. Let's not forget how intergenerational purpose can light up lives. Many seniors now volunteer in schools, join grandparent mentorship programs, or even use social media to share their life stories. Elderly Reflections recently featured 85-year-old George Wang, who posts a weekly quote on Instagram from his journal entries over the years. One read, "Age took my speed but gave me clarity." These quotes have inspired thousands, and more importantly, they've reminded George that his voice still echoes. To close this chapter of our journey through senior health, elderly wisdom, and inner renewal, let's remember and meaning. These 5 habits are not prescriptions. They are invitations to wake up, to stretch, to wonder, to speak, to serve. So here's the takeaway. Your emotional strength is not determined by age, but by intention. And every day offers a new chance to reconnect with others, with your body, with purpose. If you've made it this far, we hope you found not just information, but inspiration. If this story spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who may need a little light. Leave a comment below. What is one thing you'll try this week? And tell us where you're watching from. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Elderly Reflections for more motivation, quotes, and life lessons from the elderly. Because you're not too old to grow stronger. You're just getting wiser.